Welcome to another episode of the First Byte podcast, your guide to topics in IT, web design, and marketing. I'm Nathan Cheatham, Director of Marketing at Evernet.
I'm Eric Bjorndorf, CEO of Evernet.
So today we're going to talk about feedback loops. This is something that you've brought to me. I'm very curious, and go for it. Like, what is a feedback loop?
What is the feedback? So I get excited about these little business isms, and I get real hyper about them, and I just love to implement and talk about these things internally. And now that we have this podcast, it's kind of a forum that I get to maybe share some knowledge that I think I might have about something.
Mm-hmm.
So, we're a business service provider. We're B2B. Okay.
Yep.
So we're business to business. We're not really business to consumer anymore. We haven't been for a lot of years, but so our job is to support other businesses in all the ways that they want us to support them. In a lot of ways, we can support them in a lot of ways that they don't know we can support them. So today I just want to talk about feedback loops and the importance of them. What are they? How to implement them kind of at a practical level.
Okay.
A feedback loop, and this might even be trite for most people, but I mean, do you know what a feedback loop is?
I mean, my understanding is like you're doing something and then you're asking for a response about it. And you're taking that in and changing the action that you're doing.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's literally it. It seems so simple, but I've seen so many of our clients just not think about it.
Okay.
So I still see like so many of our clients not run their businesses really as good as they can. And that is as simple as not implementing a feedback loop. And unfortunately, I see a lot of our businesses, our clients, not do it because of they're out of their ego.
Okay.
So I see a lot of ego get in the way of implementing a feedback loop. Kind of like, I mean, feedback, let's face it, what's a synonymous term for feedback?
Review.
Criticism, yeah. And you're married, I'm married, and married people can tell you that criticism and feedback it can be tough to take,
Yep.
So it's not a surprise that I see a lot of clients not implement a feedback loop, but you got to do it. You got to have a functioning feedback loop. The reason being is it's going to simply help your business provide the virtue of your service better, right? Because nothing's perfect. And it's as simple, I'm going to tell you, it's as simple as having an out-of-date copyright on your website.
Okay.
How many times have you seen an out-of-date copyright on the footer of somebody's website?
All the time.
Daily, yeah. Right? Next to that copyright in the footer, do you see an email link to the webmaster?
Not usually.
Remember, the webmaster used to always be there. It was very common. And then it's like it went away, and sometimes it's there, sometimes it's not.
And sometimes even the client doesn't want links to anyone outside of their company in that.
But the webmaster could be an internal. I mean, the email could go to an internal person.
Yeah.
Point is like if you see a website that says copyright 2012, I just paid a parking ticket in San Antonio. We were in San Antonio.
Mm-hmm.
Drove my father-in-law's car, got a parking ticket, went to their website to pay it online, and it said copyright 2012.
Wow. Well, that doesn't surprise me.
I mean, it's government. When you have a monopoly, you don't have to compete for excellence, So
right.
That's that. But sorry for getting political. But anyways, you got to have a functioning feedback loop so that you can provide a better service. And the parking ticket and that portal to pay online is an example of that. It's a horrible experience. The portal actually didn't even work. The link wasn't even on the ticket. And then I had to sit on hold for half an hour to get somebody who really didn't care about me paying this ticket at all. They just didn't care about the outcome of this situation. And I was like, I can't find the ticket to pay online. And then she's like, oh, go to this website. She gave me a whole nother website. And then, and I went to that, and there was a more modern website, and I was able to find the ticket and pay it online, and it was fine. And then I just said to her, like, maybe you guys should have put that website on this ticket.
So you're providing feedback.
I was providing feedback
about your experience.
She could not even care any less. She just couldn't care less. And again, like, that's the government side. And we do have some government clients. So if you are a town manager or a town manager that we support, that reflects immediately. I thought of like calling the town manager literally and being like, of San Antonio, Texas, which is a major city, and being like, paying a parking ticket is a really poor experience here, but
So to get into this a little bit more, you're talking about, and to dumb this down or to really kind of bring this like a suggestion.
Yeah, I was on a tangent. Sorry.
It's like a suggestion box, which allows the people that are utilizing your service to give you information that you could dive into and say, okay, yeah, I see what you're saying. We need to change this and make those changes.
If you care about the outcome of your service, whether you're providing government services or you're providing legal services or medical services, it matters. You need to have some mechanism to ask for feedback and make that feedback the ability to supply the feedback, and then you need to receive that feedback and then act on the feedback if it's appropriate and in the best interest of the business. And so that could be a link on the footer of your website that says feedback, provide feedback. We want your feedback. Could be, as subtle as a webmaster email. I think that's a little outdated, and I think it would be better to, rather than have a webmaster email on the footer, say issues, feedback here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Also, this is the human, like we're business consultants, so it's not just computers and websites that we manage here. I advise you to add to your employee training a component where you are reinforcing with your people, your personnel, to welcome feedback, to be positive and welcome feedback. How did I do today? How can I help you? And then give them the format to take that realistically, and then give them a business structure, a workflow, business process internally to take it, process it, and then send it forward. And then make sure, of course, you have the management team and the committees and whatever to receive that, process it, review it, and then make the meaningful business change if necessary.
And you can also wield the feedback when you have created this process, you're listening, and it comes down to reputation a little bit.
Totally. Well, I was going to get into that.
Yeah. Speaking to like Google reviews.
Exactly.
So like a real world example of where the feedback loop can be beneficial is utilizing it where you're sending your customers through Google to review you, and that will then increase your value in Google and bring you to the top.
Yes. So absolutely. If you're not already asking for a review at the end of your service deliverable, I go to a dentist here in town, they have a very robust, they have like tens of thousands of positive reviews on their dental practice because they email and text me multiple times asking for that review after every single 6-month cleaning or service or whatever, right? So if you're not asking for the review at the end of your service, you should be. And part of that is a marketing vehicle, but the review the feedback loop is also a part of that ecosystem.
Yes.
So you ask, how did we do? You listen, you're strengthening that relationship with your customer. You're improving your service. And if not improving it, updating copyrights on your website. It's stupid stuff. Or you have forms. If somebody says like, hey, this form has I've had clients tell me like this form has a typo on it, or this email that we send out, we produce a lot of written word, and when a client points out, like says, hey, you got a typo here, I'm like, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Because I have editors and I've got editors and we peer review, and sometimes things slip out. And then sometimes you have that web page that's sitting in the dark corner of your website that nobody has visited for a while.
Right.
And then you have the one person, if the copyright is wrong or some other item is no longer valid, we want to hear about that. And you should build a culture in your company to receive that feedback.
So you do anything, it involves labor, and people have limited amount of bandwidth and labor. When we talk about, your dentist that is sending out emails and text messages, like, do you hire someone that's sitting there with your phone number going, let me set up this text message, or how do you get through and do that?
You're teeing me up for a technical question.
Mm-hmm.
So presumably you have business management software. Whatever your type of industry is, you have some piece of software that's following you through your business process. And typically, most leading softwares in your space, whether you're a law firm and you have legal practice management software, or you're a healthcare provider and you have an EMR, EHR software that's running your practice, those systems usually have a feature that will allow you to send some automated communique once you denote the service as transacted.
Mm-hmm.
Is that general?
Right. So
we have a ticketing system, for example, right? So you email or call the help desk for support for your web or IT needs or business process needs with Evernet. We have a robust piece of software that intakes that ticket from you, our client. It tells us who you are as a company, who you are as an individual. It gives us all of your information so that we can triage you quickly and access you quickly. Gives us information about your various configurations, blah, blah, blah. But then it tracks your billing and your interaction and the transaction that we're providing you. And when we click complete on that ticket, once the ticket's been reviewed, because this is the other thing too, is we don't send anything to billing or completion until an account manager has reviewed every single ticket for quality and accuracy.
Right.
And that's one thing that not every business can afford to do, but that's one thing that's a core tenet of our company. And then once that ticket's complete, the system has a mechanization that, okay, this is done. Now I know what this person's cell phone number is. I know what this person's email address is. Send them a review request. Now we do something where we concurrently ask for the Google review and the internal review. So we have a system where we ask kind of a quality survey, like, was your technician knowledgeable, professional, on time?
Yep.
Do you want a call back from the technician or the responding resource? Do you want to call back from their leader? And then we we actually take that opportunity to say, can we use you as a business reference?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any kudos or good words that you would want to put in our marketing material? So that's the power of that feedback loop.
And that's a very robust feedback system there.
It is and it isn't. I mean, we had these light bulb moments over the years that, like, oh wow, we should be I remember the survey feature was available to us as we were implementing the software many years before we started using it. Because I was kind of timid. I didn't want to like over interact with my clients. And then as the years went on, I started to realize that it was much what
I was just saying, like, at this point, like where we're at with interacting with clients. Like,
we blew the doors off it, didn't we?
Yeah.
And it's funny, like, I was wrong for so many years. I have so many clients now being like, all of the marketing content that we're sending out is information.
Yeah.
We're not selling ketchup popsicles here. You know what I mean? We're selling useful information to benefit our clients' businesses, their lives, their livelihoods, all of that thing. So I'm getting like an overwhelming response to some naysayers, but they're able to unsubscribe and it silences it because we honor that. So
within our current feedback, and why I say it's robust is because we are sending a fairly detailed survey, and then we're sending them to the Google, so it's like this twofold thing, and we're able to capture and take that stuff in. Whereas we had a client, and I won't go into who that is, but they were running with, they needed they needed to start capturing some of these reviews on Google, and they needed to start the process of
Right.
a feedback.
And it is a process that you start. It's not
Yeah.
something you
you just turn on. And so what we did with them was we created a section on their invoices that
perfect.
kind of just had like a QR code that took them to the review section of Google.
Perfect.
And then a little bit of language. And so that was the physical like component to
the actual thing.
Yeah, the thing.
Nathan, what do we actually do? And you're saying put a QR code on your invoice that links to your Google's review, your company's Google review page.
Right. And so then the step 2 of that is then training your techs or the person that is handing over the invoice. You see it all the time in the grocery store when you go through the checkout. And I mean, nowadays maybe you're going through the your self checkout, so you're the person, but oftentimes you go through that retail store checkout system, and at the end they circle something at the bottom
restaurants
of your invoice or your receipt, and they say, hey, if we provided good service for you today, can you go to this link and provide a review?
Exactly.
And you create an incentive with that too, and that if you don't ask for good reviews, you're least likely to get it. I think it's something,
and you're most likely to only get bad reviews.
Exactly. Bad review is something about like you're 20 times more likely to get a bad review and 5 times more likely to get a good review if you don't say anything.
Right.
So if you're asking for it, then you're in that period of time where the person is satisfied with what you've done, they're most likely to give you that review.
They already like you enough to give you money for an exchange of goods and services. So they may like you enough to leave you a review. You're going to get 100% of none of them that you ask for.
Yeah.
Maybe. I mean, some people go out of their way to leave a positive review. I know I try to. But let me also say that the review thing is a little different than the feedback loop. It's all part of that.
Yeah.
But the majority of this theme is the feedback loop, which is, train your people to ask and receive feedback. If the receptionist takes a call, if I'm talking to a receptionist at a law firm and I'm like, I had a bad experience on the website, I'm not there to criticize. I'm just saying like, hey, I had a lesson. This is not really working that great on your website. Like your receptionist, your janitor, your CEO should receive that, write it down, and know where to send that.
Yeah.
And a CEO and the leadership of the business needs to build that culture.
How do you improve if you don't know what to improve?
Exactly. And you can do that. Your website can support that experience. Your management software can support that experience. Your HR processes and human training should support that process. And then kind of tying into that, once you have that healthy feedback loop, once you're really shaping the culture and your service delivery, and you're kind of really happy with that, then you put then you start incorporating the ask for reviews and get those positive reviews going, because that's not only the first part is improving and providing a good service and improving your business and running a good business. The second part is now really turbocharging your marketing, and that's organic marketing too. So like you're not paying for that.
Right. And the return on that is so much to, like, if you're getting into, say, search engine marketing online, when you have all those positive reviews, one of the benefits that we currently have is the amount of reviews, 5-star reviews for us. And when we start ranking for a certain keyword locally because of Google My Business and the map function, it shoots us to the top.
Yeah, you really start to edge out all the other people who are not doing that. And whether they're great businesses or not, nobody knows.
You can be doing wonderful things and all of your clients love you, but if it's not being shared, like we can think of this for ourselves. Like when you're thinking you're in a new place, you're in San Antonio, Texas, and you're looking for a restaurant. What do?
It's always the reviews. It's the
Yeah.
Google Maps and show me the top ranked restaurant for whatever cuisine we look for.
Exactly. So just in our own habits, we look through reviews. We want to see like the good and the bad. And, everyone is or generally people are realistic. And if you do have a couple bad reviews, it's taken into account maybe what the situation is. Like,
Yeah.
I know when I go to a restaurant and maybe they have a couple bad reviews, I look at it and I say, well, that was kind of a lot to, write, or it doesn't make sense. I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt.
Right. Everyone has bad days.
Yeah. So don't be scared of the review process or getting the feedback. And I think that's the most important thing is like, you can't improve and you can't change if you don't know what other people are seeing and gaining that feedback and then utilizing that and wielding it so that you can increase your business and do better.
And for this shameless plug, this is one of those areas in our service that many of our clients don't know that we can get involved with them. We are a business consultancy. Mm-hmm. So in order to implement a feedback loop, putting a contact form on the website, that's your division, right? The web and marketing division. Managing the listing and reputation, that's we have a service that we run out of Evernet Marketing for listing and reputation. You have practice management software that you do your work product and track your customers in, or you have CRM where you track your customers. We've installed it for you. We support it. We integrate the data. That's where we fit in. But we also call me, say, I want to review my feedback loop. What does my feedback loop look like, Eric? Well, let's take a look. Like, what are we doing, and where can we improve that?
It's like the synergy of it, and it's where Evernet can kind of latch onto your business to help, and we come in and we can evaluate. So thanks again for watching. Like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and like this video. Leave us a comment. You can also find us on all socials at EvernetCO. There we are listening to our community, and always visit our website, evernetco.com.
Thanks, Nate.